Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Hare Krishna, thank you everyone. Everyone okay with everyone Hindi or Kirtan or what do you want? Hindi. I want to learn.
Haryana, Punjab together.
Okay, so today is a very special day. Today is the appearance of Lord Vamana. Many of you must have heard Vamana is one of the Dasavatars, one of the 10 main incarnations of Lord Krishna. So today is a special day to do jagya, to do pujas, to give charity. Particularly because today the Lord Himself taught the true reason behind jagya, puja, dhana. Krishna says here in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text number 27, that whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer, or whatever you give away, or whatever austerities you perform, do that. O son of Kundi, he's talking to Arjuna, as an offering to me. That's what Krishna is saying. He says in Sanskrit, Jat karoshi, jarashnoshi, jat juhosi, dadhasi jat tapasi sitam kriya, tat kurusha man arpanam. So Prabhupada explains that it is the duty of everyone to mold his life or her life in such a way that you would not forget Krishna in any circumstance. Everyone has to work for maintenance of his body and soul together. And Krishna recommends herein that one should work for him. Everyone has to eat something to eat. Therefore, he should accept the remnants of foodstuff offered to Krishna. Any civilized man has to perform some religious ritualistic ceremonies. Therefore, Krishna recommends, do it for me. And this is called archana, or worship. Everyone has a tendency to give something in charity. Krishna says, give it to me. And this means that all surplus money accumulated should be utilized in furthering this Krishna consciousness movement. Nowadays, people are very much inclined to the meditational process, which is not practical in this age. But if anyone practices meditating on Krishna 24 hours a day, by chanting the Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, rounds on the beats, he's surely to become the greatest meditator and the greatest yogi, as substantiated by the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnanana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hare Krishna. Bhagavad Gita gives us 3 lessons, mainly 3 lessons in life. And these are lessons that we all need to achieve perfection. These are lessons that generally you don't learn either in school, high school, university, or anywhere else. These are lessons that only Krishna teaches. Sometimes Krishna appears in different forms, and one of his names is Mahaprabhu. Prabhu means teacher. Okay? Mahaprabhu means the great teacher. Like you have when you go to your school, you have your favorite teachers. Remember your teachers from primary or high school? Or whatever else, remember? You got your favorite teachers, you had your not so favorite teachers, right? Your famous ones, strict, sometimes the funny ones. Whatever your preference was, there were some teachers who were very good teachers. They can teach you things which sometimes you carry in your life. Yeah. So Mahaprabhu means that teacher who can teach you the greatest teachings of all. So Krishna here in the Bhagavad Gita teaches us 3 lessons. First of all, in the first 3, in the first 6 chapters of the Gita, he explains who are we. That's our identity. If I ask you, who are you? What would you say? You will give me your name. That's the first thing, right? Then I may ask you, where are you from? You will say, where are most people here from? Punjab. Punjab. And then I will ask you, what's your favorite food? And tell me about the place that you come, and all the beautiful things from your place, right? So you have an identity. And generally, we have IDs. Now in India, I remember a few years ago, Aadhaar cards. And what's the other one? PAN card. You know that, right? Everyone's rushing, trying to get. The government won't allow you to do anything unless you have your Aadhaar card and PAN card. Even for us, Westerners, foreigners living in India, we have to. I got my PAN card, my Aadhaar card. Why? Because identity is important. It's essential. You have your ID. If you want to travel somewhere, right, you need your ID. Right? Doesn't matter how rich you are, doesn't matter how handsome you are, how powerful, influential, nothing. You need your ID. Yes or no? It's essential. So Krishna here is explaining in the first 6 chapters of the Gita, first of all, who are we? Our identity. Aham Brahmasmi. That's what the Vedas teach. We're a spirit. We're not the body. Right? Another thing that generally your ID card would say, passport or whatever, license. It says H. Huh? What else? D-O-B. Date of birth. You all know by heart your date of birth, correct? You know. Date of birth. It doesn't say the day of expiry. It says the day of expiry of the document. It doesn't say the day of your expiry. Krishna here gives us our ID and our spiritual ID. Is that we are not the body. We may have the body, but we are not that body. That's not our identity. That's what Krishna presents. And the first 6 chapters explain how we can realize who are we, how can we utilize our true identity. Everyone here has a car? Everyone has a car. I saw a bunch of cars out there. I didn't know which one was the house. I was calling for it. But when I saw a lot of cars, I said, this is the place I was driving around. You all have a car, right? And the car has a purpose. Yes? You get into your car, and then you drive. If you know the directions, then you don't have to put your Google Maps. Otherwise, you put your address, and then you drive around. This body, according to the Gita, it's a jantra. Jantra means machine, the vehicle. So we are meant to go somewhere. Not only to the shopping center, or to the school, but to the workplace. We are meant, according to the Vedas in general, to find that place where we come from. Okay? So the first thing is our identity. Who are we? And the second lesson in the Bhagavad Gita is, where are we meant to go? Right? I asked Prabhu, give me the address and I'll be there. Right? So Prabhu immediately sent me the address. So I put it in my Google thing, and then I came. But if Prabhu doesn't give me the direction, doesn't give me the destination, I don't know where I'm going. And then I spend my life going to the shopping center, going to the workplace, going to different places, until the vehicle is too old. Right? When we get really old, you hardly can move. Right? Now you're all strong and dynamic. Right? But when one gets old, it's hard even to give a few steps. And then one day, what happens? Hogya. Right? Finish. No more. And everyone cries, and then we put a picture of the person, we put them somewhere in the house, but where is he gone? We don't know, or she, we don't know. So in the Gita, Krishna explains in the middle 6 chapters, where is that supreme destination? Param Dham. Where are we meant to go? Eternally. Right? That's something that your ID doesn't say. You know, when you travel, you buy a ticket. Right? I'm sure you, whenever had a chance, you used to go to visit your families in India. Yeah? Very good. How long ago you haven't been in Russia?
24 years, so I've been only once.
24 years.
24
but
years.
it was not long ago that you went.
In 24 years, I'm saying. I've been only once, and it was 2015.
Wow.
So really success.
In 18 years, I went once back home, back to South America. Back home. Mhm. So we call home. That's Brazil, right? So we have that relationship. But at the end of our lives, yeah, we're going to go somewhere, but we don't know. Unless you have the destination. So you need the address. So the address is given here. Right? So the time before you take off, right? You put your address in the Google Maps. And when you take your ticket, you know how it is. You go to the airport, and then they ask you immigration and you get countered. And when you're about to board, right? They ask you, where is the boarding pass? And the boarding pass is your name and what? Destination. Right? Sometimes you go to the wrong door. Right? Have that happen to you? Oh no, you have to go there, and then you rush and say, oh, okay, you're here. And then you say, oh, it's your heart, yeah, oh, so happy. And then you board the plane, and then you feel, oh, I'm going home. Yeah? You know that feeling, right? Going home. Yeah. You're going to see your friends, your relatives, your parents perhaps, etc. Right? So in the same way, at the end of our lives, we are meant to go back home. That's what Krishna is explaining here. And often he says, come to me. Many times he says, come to me, come to me, come to me. Back home, back to God. Okay, so these are 2 lessons. One, who we are. And second, where are we meant to go? Destination. Identity and destination. The third lesson, last one, because we don't have much time. The third lesson is how to get there. At this point, our situation is compared to being in jail. I don't want to ask if you have been in jail. I remember when we were starting in this process, we used to go and chant in the streets. And sometimes the police would take us to jail. They were not mean. I mean, in other countries they are really mean. They just were curious. You know, we shaved head like pandijis, you know, and then had the Sikha dress, strange, different. So they took us to jail. You know why they took us to jail? Because they like the food that we cook. And then we will call the temple. The temple will bring prasadam, right? And they will bring the garlands, the malas. And the jail, the prison, become like a party, like this one. Everyone crowded. And then the Maltis, the Prabhus will come, bring garlands to the, you know. Only if you go to an expensive resort in Hawaii or Fiji or Tahiti, they put garlands. Right? You have to pay a lot of money to. So they'll put the garlands, and then they say, oh, chant, sing. And then they chant.
Russian devotees in Australia have a joke that every year of service in the Russian Navy would be equal 15 years of Australian jail. So, we've been there.
Yeah. Some places it's very, very difficult. So we are lucky here. So this place is compared to a jail. And what happens if we are in jail? Generally jails have bars. Right? Bars. And because of the bars, you cannot leave. I always notice in India, and pay attention next time you go, one day, I notice that practically every house has bars. Have you noticed? Everywhere. In the kitchen, everywhere you see bars. Right? You know why. You know why there are bars
Is
there.
it the monkeys?
Yeah.
Monkeys
All kind of monkeys. With mustache and no, all kind of monkeys. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains in the last 6 chapters how to break those bars. And Krishna says in chapter 13, I am in your heart, in everyone's heart, and I can take you out. You know, sometimes you have a friend, right? Those bold friends, brave friends. And whenever you're in trouble, you call them, right? And what does a good friend say? Don't worry, I'll help you. Yeah? Anything, right? Do you have friends like that? Yeah. Any problem, Prabhu, don't worry. What do you say in business? We'll take care of you. We'll take care of you. We'll look after you. So Krishna says in chapter 13, within your heart, I am there. And I will be with you all the time, 24/7. Even your most loved person cannot be with you 24/7. Right? If you go to hospital, I used to work in hospitals. You know, there's a visiting time, right? From whatever time to whatever time. And then only the person can come. And then they bring something, some soup, some medicine, something. They are there. But they cannot be 24/7. If you go to jail, somebody goes to jail, even your most loved friend, person, cannot be with you. And Krishna says, I can be with you all the time. And I can show you how these bars can be cut. And I can give you the map. You know, sometimes there's these stories. Some people are in prison and then they want to break free. And there's this blueprint, the map, yeah? And the bars, and you know, how you make the hole, and that dig, right? And you go under, right? Do you have those stories? Like that. So the way by which we can escape this prison, Krishna explains in chapter 15, is the Vedas. And of all the Vedas, there is this little book, the Bhagavad Gita, which is the essence of the Vedas. Vedas is hundreds and thousands, if not millions of verses. We don't have time. But if we read Bhagavad Gita, and if we just select some of these verses, some of these words, some of these teachings, these lessons can help us to get free. And at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, forget about everything. Don't worry about anything else. He says, just surrender it unto me. Mam ekam sharanam vraja. Sometimes when we go somewhere and we're trying to find that dress, sometimes the dress doesn't work. Right? I don't know if it happened to you. Many times in India, I go, they give me an address, there's some program, and then I'm there. The taxi driver says, Kikorchan, where, you know, what's happening here? But it's not there. Then they ask at the shop, and they ask in the corner, and people start giving it out. So then what do? We call your friend. Hey, look, bye. Look, I'm here. He says, no, where are you? He says, I come to get you. Right? I'm coming. So once he comes to get you, he says, just follow me. Because he knows, or she knows. Right? I wasn't sure which one of the houses was, so I called Prabhu, right? Prabhu, where is it? So Prabhu is also calling me back, and he's looking for me. Because he knows. So in the same way, Krishna knows. And he says in the Bhagavad Gita, Mamekam sharanam vraja. Don't worry. Whatever mistakes you have committed, whatever confusions you have in your life, don't worry, I will take care. Sarvadharmam parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. Aham tvam sarvapapebhyo Moksha, you know what moksha, right? Moksha si syami masucha. Don't worry. Moksha. Moksha means liberation. Srila Prabhupada explains the true liberation for the living entity, for the soul, it's love, devotion. Devotional liberation. If one has love for the Supreme, then you're free. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what happens. Right? Eventually you will be free. And this is the boarding pass for the living entity. This is the perfection. So on today's Vamana Dwadasi, we are happy that... Who's the host here? Huh? Oh, you're the host. Okay. You look the same. You're like all... Big two. Okay, two. All right. Okay. So thank you for having us. Very auspicious. So many devotees, so many people. That's very nice. Every house, Srila Prabhupada used to say, in Vrindavan, there are 5,000 temples. I remember when I read that, it cannot be. What does it mean that there is 5,000 temples in Vrindavan? Is that every house is a temple. Every house is a temple. So I don't know how many hundreds of temples we have in Perth. Right? But I mean, this morning we went to a program. We had Bhavan, we had Kirtan, we had Prasadam, grain ceremony. So tonight also a program here, and I know there are other programs. So this is like a flood. Have you been in a flood? Those Punjab have floods? No. No? No? Delhi floods? Bombay floods?
Flood.
No? Dry. Your area is dry.
Yeah, in north part, no.
North part. But if you live in Mayapur, in Calcutta, those areas, they flood.
Yeah.
Bangladesh also have seen flood because of the rivers. So what happens when the flood comes? That's it, too late. You just get a boat, put everything up, because everything's going to get wet. So the Shastras explain that this chanting is like a flood. And everywhere, it's gonna reach everywhere. And the prediction is that in every town and village, and the translation of that in every suburb. What is this suburb? What suburb are we? Calcutta. Right, so I don't know how many suburbs are there in Perth. Somebody told me like 300 or something, or so much. So we tried that in every suburb. 370? Yeah. There you go. So many. So we want that in every suburb we're able to chant the names of Krishna, read his books, his teachings, worship his form, honor his prasada, and associate with devotees. This will make this world, and let's say Perth, like Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha means a place where there is no suffering. Externally we may suffer sometimes something, but internally we will be completely happy and peaceful. Thank you very much. Time is up. So I hope that you remember the 3 lessons.
Yeah.
Who are we?
Identity.
Destination. And liberation.
Yeah.
Okay. Read Bhagavad Gita and chant Hare Krishna. Thank you. Hare Krishna.